Okay, so this is what Autodesk Sketchbook looks like. Just pointing out the app right here that's circled in blue. Going to be opening it shortly, and we're going to see how we use Autodesk Sketchbook. So there it is. Right, so we have a number of tools on the left. You'll see a pencil, and so you can make marks that kind of resemble that of a real pencil. This is an airbrush tool, and we could use the airbrush tool for shading in areas. That's how I use it sometimes. When you press harder, you get a darker tone. When you press lighter, you get a lighter tone. That's a pen tool, and you see it's a thicker and darker line than the pencil. That's the eraser, and you can also change the size of the marks that you make. You can adjust them using that size button there. The pencil as well. In fact, all the tools, you can adjust the size so you can create different kinds of marks. Okay, and depending on how hard you press with the pen, you can make very light lines, extremely light, or very, very dark lines. All right, now here we have the layer tool. You can add layers that would make your different things that you draw on each layer would be separate, so you can turn the visibility of a layer on or off, right? And so each layer you can have a separate drawing on it, and you can have it so that you can still see what is on every layer to complete your whole drawing. You can choose colors. So this is the coloring tool. And there's also a paint bucket up at the top where you can select a color and fill in your entire shape, right, without having to color the whole thing by hand. And again, you can change the color of the shape that you've made just by selecting the color. Make sure that paint bucket is selected. All right, so basically those are all the tools that we're going to be using for our drawing. All right, Autodesk Sketchbook. Okay, so we're going to start off by drawing our guidelines at the top, the middle, and the bottom, and also a line down the center, vertical line. The first line is for the top of the head, the eye, then the nose, the mouth, and then the chin. A curved line at the top for the top of the head, and a smaller curve where the chin is, and then we join the two curves. Now we're drawing the eyes, but we're drawing the eyes much larger than we normally would. Okay, remember, this is a Christmas elf, so it doesn't have to look like an actual human being. Right now it looks kind of alien. But then you see we draw the nose on the nose line, and a little curve there on top of that mouth line. And we drew the Cupid's bow first, added some dots to show where the corners of the lips would go. Now we're drawing the irises, really big, really looks alien now. And then the pupils. We're adding in some eyebrows. And then we are going to shade in our pupils. Now it seriously looks alien, but don't worry, it's gonna look a little bit more like an elf. We're drawing our highlights in both eyes, and then we're going to shade the irises. Okay, and remember, when we did the eyes, we drew the little spokes just to add some detail to the eyes. So we're gonna add those little spokes in to show some details, and then we're darkening the area around the edges of the irises on both eyes. Next, we're going to be adding some lashes. Okay, we're putting a few more little highlights there, and then add some lids. And now we're adding in the lashes long towards the ends. We're going to be sticking out along the ends, and then closer to the top of the eye, they're just curling upwards and a little shorter. Nice, thick, long lashes. Next, we are putting in a little shading along the sides of the nose to give the nose some form. All right. Now all of this is being done on a second layer. The first layer is just the guidelines. When I take the layer off, you'll see that I could turn off the first layer with the guidelines so you can only see the drawing that we have here. Just adding some shading on the lips. If you notice the shading with the nose, remember how we did the little circle first and then the sides of the nose to create the nostrils. And when you're shading the lips, usually it's a little darker at the corners of the lips and also darker around the that line that separates the top and bottom lip. Now we're adding some really pointy looking elf ears, and the ear starts on the same line with the eye, and it goes down just below the line with the nose, right? So you can use that as a guide. I'm drawing my little elf hat. Kind of looks like a Santa hat. I did that on a separate layer, and I put the little puff on the tip of the hat. I'm also drawing the neck and shoulders and the top of the little outfit that the elf is wearing. I'm putting in some shading on the face. All right, some little extra shading. First I shaded the whole thing kind of one tone, and then I went back in to add some shadows, right? Shadowy areas around the neck, on the side of the face, even inside the ears and so on. I'm going to add a little bit of shading there, a little darker shading, darker tones. And to give it a little bit more definition, adding some shading around the eyes, kind of defining the cheekbones a little bit by adding some shading just below the cheekbones. Just outlined and added some color with the paint tool that I talked to you all about. All right, and so you'll see I'm using the Christmas colors, red and green, and I'm adding some hair. So I use the airbrush tool first to just put in the dark areas where I want the hair to go. Then I'm using the pencil to put in a little details, add some little curls, and have little bits of hair sticking out under the hat. All right, maybe adding a few more little curls, and then I'm going to take the pencil and add some definition in the little plaits that are sticking out there. Okay, and that's pretty much about it. That is how our Christmas elf is going to look. Hope you enjoyed.